better this time. So I just had a little technical glitch, technical problem. Hopefully, whoever was there at the beginning of the live will come back at the right time. So I was saying, welcome to my live. My name is Didi Khan. I am a therapist and coach and author. And I'm here to do what I've started to do a couple of years ago on TikTok, which is to offer some live broadcast to answer any questions that you'd like to ask me about mental health, therapy, mindset, mindfulness, human psychology, human behavior, relationships, all of those things, how we can enhance and elevate any aspects of our life from those places. Some people are coming back, fantastic. And so I'm going to stay here a couple of hours. And yes, just it's in sync now. Fantastic. Thank you, Red. Just ask me whenever you feel ready for it. Any questions, and I will do my best to give you some actionable answers so that you can hopefully change some aspects of your life. What I'm going to do, I'm going to start reading some posts that I put out on TikTok today, just as a starter, and hopefully by the end of it, I will have some interactions with you. So the first post that I put out on TikTok today goes like this. You didn't come into this world, you came out of it. A leaf comes from a tree, a wave comes from an ocean, a drop of rain comes from a cloud, and a moment comes from your attention being aware of it. So it's a bit of poetry here, but it's inspired from a quote from Alan Watts. And it's essentially the idea that we are not separate from this world. We like to believe that this is me, this is my ego, and everything else that is not me, but is outside of me, is the rest. It's the world, and there's a separation between me and the world. But if we can remind ourselves that we are all part of something bigger, and there's only the illusion of separation, then we can start to really have different experiences that can help us with any of our problems as a human being. And so we are not separate from reality, we are a part of it. And in the very exact same way, that moment comes from our consciousness being aware of it. And so we are not separate from the now. The illusion of time is just that, an illusion. The second post that I put out today on TikTok goes like this. When we get frustrated by our partner, it is because in this moment we have forgotten who they were. For one moment, they have become and embodied all those people from our past who didn't see us, didn't listen to us, didn't accept us, and didn't support us. And we are having an emotional flashback. So this is more something to do with the mind, the psychology, why we interact the way we do with one another. And so essentially what it's saying is that whenever we are having an argument with, let's say, our romantic partner, in that moment we're no longer using that mind, we're using that mind. We are freaking out, we're angry, we are feeling challenged, so we're reacting to a situation. In that moment we're emotional. And the emotional mind will react the same way we used to react when we were a child. It's going to behave the way it's been left at. And so if we've been put down by a lot of people in our childhood, in that moment, the emotional mind, the inner child, is going to feel that that person in front of me is just like everyone else. That person represents my parents, my bullies, my teachers, anyone who put me down, and so I need to react to that person. We're having an emotional flashback, as in we're feeling the same emotion that we felt back then. And we're going to react in the same way, the only way that we know how to react, what we knew how to react back then as a child. So this is an insight to explain why we behave the way we behave. And right after, we may get into an argument, a fight. But then eventually, when the anger is gone, when the frustration is gone, we may realize, why did we get into a fight? This is ridiculous. It is because in that moment we forgot that our partner is a person of its own that has got nothing to do with all the other people who put us down in the past. All those people who didn't listen to us, all those people who took over us, who didn't support us. And so, and finally, the third post that I put out today on TikTok goes like this. Some people need enemy because this gives them a sense of purpose and control in their lives. If I know who my enemy is, I know where the danger lies, and because they are the villains, this also makes me the hero of my life. And so everything is relative to something else. Nothing exists without its counterpart. Nothing exists without context. And so that's why so many people need an enemy, because it defines who they are. A supervillain cannot exist unless there's a superhero, and vice versa. I should say, a superhero cannot exist unless there's a supervillain. And in the very exact same way, this is why so many people hate trans people, hate vegans, hate, I don't know, anyone who is different to them. They need to fight someone. It's like an imaginary enemy, because they will be defined by who they are in regards to their arch enemy or their nemesis. And that explains the state of the world and why so many people are angry at so many things and people that has got nothing to do with them. If I know who my enemy is, that gives me a sense of identity. And now, because I have a sense of identity, I have an idea of what the world is. For me to understand the world, I need to have an idea of who I am. This is how it works. We don't come into this world finding out who we are. We create the world based on who we believe we are in this world. And so, I hope it makes sense. Now, I'm going to read some of the comments. I see that there are some, and hopefully we're going to have a nice chat today on this lovely Saturday, the 22nd of February. Reds, it's in sync now. Fantastic, thank you. Reds, hi Didi. Is that your name? Yes, it is. Didi can. My name is Rebecca. Hello, Rebecca. Reds, and that mind is tied to our nervous system. Talking about emotional mind, yes, it is the same. The emotional mind is the nervous system. It's just a different angle from which we're looking at it from. You are many, many things, and we are what we are depending on the position that we're looking at ourselves from. So again, I often talk about this, but if we look at ourselves from a biological perspective, we are a body. If we look at us from an ecosystem perspective, we are a sapiens being, we are human, right? If we are looking at us from a psychological perspective, we are a mind. If you look at ourselves from, I don't know, a cellular perspective, we are trillions of cells. And if we look at ourselves from an atomic perspective, we are energy. And so we are all those things. And so when I talk about the emotional mind, I'm talking about the body, I'm talking about the heart, I'm talking about the nervous system. Indeed, yes. It's all the same. But I agree with you. Caroline, hello Didi. Good evening. Good evening to you, Caroline. How are you doing? Thank you for being here. Rebecca, so I'm going to try my best to remember. Rebecca, but were they putting us down, really? Yes. So again, everything is relative. If you look at it from the position of the child, we felt not supported, we felt neglected, we felt not safe, we felt not loved unconditionally. And so from the perspective of the child that we were, it was our truth. From theirs, it's different. The parents probably didn't want to do this. They didn't realize, they had no idea of this. But this is why it's so very important to always remind ourselves that everything is contextual. Everything only can be defined when there's a context that tells us which angle we're looking at that thing from. Right? So there's no absolute truth, there's no absolute reality, and it is the understanding of this that can help us heal and grow and expand and make the most of our human adventure, as opposed to keeping on being hurt because our ego is limited by some limiting belief that keeps on telling us there's a right, there's a wrong. It's either this or that, right or wrong. Who's right, who's wrong? Is it me, is it them? Is it because of me, is it because of my parents, is it because of something else? You know what? It's because of everything. It's never just this or that, it's always because of everything. And the more we can expand our understanding of the bigger picture, the more we can make the most of our potential as a human being within the adventure of our lifetime. So yes, Rebecca, I hope that answers your question. Hey, nice to see you. Fantastic. I'm glad that you're here. We'll talk about your topic at some point when you ask me. Rebecca, exactly about the superhero villain. Okay, you agree with that. Good, thank you. Caroline, when a person is jealous and tries to put you down with pranks, small insults, do we ignore them and walk away and not being around them? It depends how you feel about it. So again, there's no there's no universal right or wrong. There's only your experience in this moment. And so it depends on how you feel about it. And so if I, for instance, was in a position where someone was pranking me, if I feel that that's wrong, I would say, you know what? No, keep away from me. I'm not interested. But if it's someone that I feel good about and it's not hurting my feeling, I wouldn't call it a prank. For me, prank are jokes that exist at the expense of someone. So they're going to startle someone, they're going to give them a little bit of fright, or maybe they're going to ridicule them in some ways. And so for me, this is very cruel, this is very obsolete, nasty, unnecessary, and totally lacking of emotional intelligence. A lot of us, we absolutely hate that, but we allow this because the culture that we live in, the society that we live in, has somehow accepted this as a normality. And because of that, people keep on doing pranks to one another, and we don't realize that pranks are the most trouble type of humor. Right? Humor is great. I put a video on TikTok that get quite a lot of traction, and a lot of people are reacting to this. So basically, let me read it. Let me get onto that since you're talking about this. And it's the thing that I wanted to talk about with if. And it's about pranks. And let me find the thing. It goes like this. Pranks are a sign of very low emotional intelligence. It's like when someone is falling. If we laugh, it is because subconsciously we are happy not to be the one embarrassing ourselves. So it's very, very primal, it's very basic, and it's always been around, but things are changing it in any aspect of our life, and with humor and jokes, it is also changing, right? I was talking about it, I think, last week on this live, and if you look at what used to make Victorians laugh, it was Punch and Judy. Two puppets. I think it's a man with a stick beating up his wife, or the other around, something like that. And that was hilarious for people. And it's still going on in many different ways. But basically, these are basic, primary way of laughing, because we are just reacting to not wanting to be the one who is the recipient of the joke. And so again, as you evolve in time, in the 60s, in the 70s, there are all sort of stuff on television that were using the same type of humor. If you look at the series called Carry On in the UK, so every country has one of them. But basically, there's always one guy within the team of people in that series that is going to be the butt of every joke. People are going to laugh at that person is going to fall, ridicule themselves, and everyone is going to always take the piece of that person. It's very cruel. It's bullying, actually. And now, when I look at those things, it makes me feel very uncomfortable. I don't like this because I've been bullied, and I know how it feels like that. But society is somehow finding it very rough, and applauding because someone is being bullied. And this is just, again, a very low level of intelligence applied to humor. People don't realize this. They don't choose this. They don't do this on purpose. It's cultural. But if we can realize this, we can stop this. Right? And even not just that, not just like shows and entertainment, but it was everywhere in culture. And I can remember advertisement on television, for instance, were all designed about, again, I don't know if it's called like that, a butt of the joke. And I can remember, for instance, an ad for Ribena. So I think it's blackberry or blackcurrant juice, some berries juice. And there's a little carton, and all those berries were trying to escape from the factory or the bottles. They don't want to be turned into juice. And then at the end, one is getting hopeful, and then we get squished, and it's gone. And every time that I saw that, I know that it's ridiculous, but I felt bad for the little berry. I was like, why would you be so cruel to that berry? Let them escape, run away free. But this is it. It depends on your level of empathy. If you can connect with other people and realize that, so basically, people who are like me will feel like that because we have experienced injustice and we have experienced pranks and we don't like it. And so the whole point of my post is to explain why pranks are born and why they're not necessary anymore, and how we could do better as human beings not to do pranks anymore. So now, here's the thing. Straight away, people are coming, yeah, but it's not like that. Da, 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 da. And what we don't realize is that they're not talking about the pranks. They're talking about themselves. they're taking it personally, they're defending themselves. Instead, in their mind, because of their belief system, they're reacting. And instead of trying to understand what I'm trying to explain about the subconscious mechanisms that have created the concept of pranks, people are thinking, he's attacking me. He's judging me. He's telling me that I'm not a good person because I like pranks. He's telling me that my parents, my family, my friends are bad people. So now I'm going to counterattack and protect and defend and disagree with him. And it was never about that. We all do things, we all behave in ways that are just habitual because of our upbringing and environment. However, many of those things are not necessarily very good, and we need to raise an awareness of this. But as long as we're protecting our ego, when somebody is explaining something that is nothing to do with them, it's about that thing. As long as we are protecting ourselves, we can never really expand our understanding of ourselves. And so what I'm trying to explain to all those people who are very, very reactive to that post is that, of course, some pranks, if you get along, if people are not hurt, it can be okay. But the truth of the matter is that the vast majority of time, people who are the victims of the pranks, they don't like it, and they only pretend that they like it, because we live in a culture and society that normalizes it, right? And so people are going to think, yeah, but they're okay with that. Well, maybe not. How do you know for sure? And people may say, well, but I am okay with that. Okay, so that's you. But because you are okay with that doesn't mean that we don't want to be extra kind and careful and compassionate to everyone else. Because for some people, pranking them can really reactivate old wounds of being bullied. They can really, really feel bad about it. That can ruin the whole day. I, for instance, and my husband were both neurodivergent, and we hate this. If he was doing any pranks on me, or if I was doing any prank of him, we wouldn't be together. It makes no sense to us. There are many ways we can laugh, we can enjoy ourselves, we can have a sense of humor, but it doesn't have to come at the expense of someone's peace. Yeah. So there you go. So I hope that I clarified this. If you're still watching, this is live, as you know. It's not TikTok, it's YouTube. So I'm a bit behind, but I will read every single comment. So bear with me. If I'm not there yet, please be patient, and I do my best to address every single one of your comments as thoroughly as possible. So next, so that was for Caroline, and if you wanted to ask me about pranks, Rebecca, yes, we should seek to know ourselves and the enemy within. I don't believe that there's an enemy within. The enemy within, okay, you know what? I'm going to agree with you. There is a perceived enemy within, but it's only an illusion. We have created that because we believe that this is how the world works. Black and white, right or wrong, good or bad, true or false. We function on a binary mode system that is very, very oversimplistic and doesn't work because we have to generalize everything. And that system was born from us needing to survive. If I need to survive, I need to be quick. I need to make a judgment ASAP. I can't have the luxury of intelligence and analyze, okay, is it good, is it bad? Yes, but no, you have to react. And so people think in black and white as a habit because society is teaching us to function on a survival mode. And so we believe that there's some enemy outside and inside of us. But there was never any enemy. Healing and growth is precisely understanding that there's a wholeness and we are connected to, we want to accept first all the parts within ourselves, but also we want to find a way to connect with the world, with other people in some ways, instead of believing that there's a separation. There's the bad people, I must protect myself against them, I must destroy them, I must dehumanize them, they're animals, or sort of things. Those are all illusions that the human ego has created out of old habits of survival. We don't need to survive anymore. We can learn how to live and grow and thrive and expand instead. Are mature pranks still emotionally immature? So if another question about the pranks, if they're emotionally, it depends. It depends on how you feel about it. Generally speaking, I would say yes, because again, whether you feel bad or not about it, whether the other person feel bad or not about it, the very process, the principle, the notion, the idea of a prank is that it comes at the expense of someone's peace. It comes at the expense of someone's happiness. And for one moment, we are startling them, we are shocking them. Some people could have a heart attack. Some people could absolutely hate this. I would hate this. I saw some videos on many on TikTok about people pranking people in the street. If someone was coming out of the bush, I would punch it as a reflex. I will apologize after, but say, you know what, you get what you ask for. People are different. You can't do this to people who, again, I'm in the mental health profession, and so people who have been through trauma, for instance, it is absolutely a no-go, and no one knows who's had trauma or not. No one knows who suffers from anxiety, from burnout, from depression, from all of those things. Depression because we may have been bullied all their life, and now they're being pranked. Pranks are a subconscious form of manipulation and dominance. People are showing, I'm the one who's pranking you, I'm stronger than you, I'm in control, ha ha ha, look at me. And if we are pranking each other, it's because we believe that now there's a competition. You prank me, I'm going to prank you back. I'm going to prank you harder. I'm going to prank you better. I'm going to surprise you in ways that you couldn't think about. And now it's a competition, but it's still the idea of dominance, winning, competing, comparing, overcoming, the idea that some people are better than others and some others are lesser than others. And this is one of the root of all problems in this world. And so pranks, by the definition, by the way it's designed, and by the way most people will feel about it, for the vast majority of people, pranks are absolutely void of emotional intelligence, and it's not needed anymore. In the new world, now we are more intelligent, we are more developed, we have more notions about mental health, emotional health, about people. We have more of all of those things, and so we don't need to behave like people in the Victorian times used to. We have more options now. There's a lot of ways to create joy and happiness and laughter without having to put someone down. Again, in the 80s, all those Hollywood movies, there would always be a hero and a sidekick that will be always ridiculed all throughout the movie. And that was normal. It's a culture of bullying. But because it's normal doesn't mean that it's right. A lot of things were normal and absolutely terribly wrong. I can give you an example. When I was younger, I used to be bullied because of racism in France. And a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago, I saw on Facebook a friend of mine, a British friend, so he didn't bully me, but basically he was going, this generation, they're all snowflakes. They take things personally. Back in the days, in the 70s, 80s, 90s, which is my generation, people could call each other any names and people were okay with that. We used to laugh at each other. And he took the example. I have a friend, for instance, he's a Chinese friend, and I used to call him whatever, so I don't know, Gu, Qing, Zhong, 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 I don't know the derogatory terms in English, but he used to call his friend all those terrible names, and he says, and my friend would laugh at it. He would call himself like that and would be having a great time, but people are being offended by everything nowadays. And so I sent him a private message, and I said, you do realize that this is what you believe. It was never the truth. I've been bullied. I've been called all those names. And I, just like your friend, I pretended that I was okay with this because it was normal back then. I could not go against the whole culture. Everyone was racist. On television, newspaper, everyone. It was normal. And so I hated it. I suffered from it. And I said, ooh, I'm laughing, clutching my jaw because I didn't have any choice. And so from your perspective, you believed that back then everything was hunky-dory, it was normal, no one is being hurt, but I was being hurt. Everyone who were in that situation were being hurt. All the ableist jokes, all the sexist jokes, all the racist jokes, all of those discriminatory jokes, homophobic jokes, fattist, body shaming jokes, all of those things were always detrimental to people who were receiving them. However, because back then it was normal to be discriminatory, it was very normal, it was absolutely the most normal thing, sadly, then we kind of accepted it as a normality, and those who were not on the recipient side never knew this. They think, now, this new generation, they're all fragile snowflakes, they're offended. No, it was wrong then, it is wrong now. The difference is that now we know that it's not right, and we can speak out our truth, and we can do our best to change this society and culture that is so unkind and so lacking of empathy and emotional intelligence. And so it's very similar as with the pranks. Some people believe, but I'm doing pranks, they're okay with that. Well, you don't know. If they really, really told you how they feel about themselves, most probably they're not. They will tell you, stop it. I hate this. Right? And if you do it with your siblings, it's because you have been brought up as a culture of, again, dominance, who's going to win. So there's a lot of competitivity. And we don't realize this, but we do this a lot with many of our siblings. So there you go. Something different. Let me see if there's any more comments. Louis Tari. Hey man, I'm just stopping in to wish you a great day. Thank you so much. Same to you, if you're still around. I am just about to leave to go to work. I always think about your advice. It helps me go through the day. Thank you. Thank you. Fantastic. Thank you so much. I will see you again soon, bro. Okay. Thank you. I wish you a great day if you can still hear this, or if you watch it on replay. Roar Vaga. John 14:6, Jesus answered, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Jesus loves you. Okay, fair enough. I love Jesus. And I'm glad that you seem to be rather happy. But you know, I love Buddha as well. I love Allah. I love Ganesha. I love the magic unicorns in the sky. I love all of them. So we are all good. Thank you, Laura Vega. Caroline, do one say no or silent, making space? So we're talking about if someone pranks you. So it depends. You do or you say, you behave in whichever way is comfortable for you. But if someone is behaving in ways at work, for instance, that are crossing your boundaries, that are making you feel uncomfortable, you have to tell them, set your boundaries, and it doesn't matter how they react to it. Learn how to express yourself, learn how to see what happens, but express yourself and tell them, I don't like this. Please, if you respect my feelings, stop this. And if they don't, take it one level up. Go and see HR, go and see the manager, the boss, or whoever is in charge. But there are some work environments that are toxic. And so if that's the case, then you will be better off finding another place. It does happen. But before you do that, you may actually be just dealing with one person, and maybe the people in charge may be on your side and able to change and deal with that situation for you. Caroline, Reborn, can weather influence state of mind? Yes, absolutely. If so, how do people in the UK solve that? So it depends. So we are not just one thing. Depending on our state of mind, the external world will affect us in different ways. And so there are some times where we may be happy, excited, we have a project in mind, life is doing well, it's grey outside. It doesn't matter that it's grey outside because it's shiny inside. But if I'm down, if there's not much things going on in my life, and outside there's not much going on either, now it's going to be harder. It's going to be much, much more difficult. And also everything is relative. So if I come from a hot country with a lot of sun and I'm in the UK, it's going to be much harder for me than if I came from, I don't know, if I came from, let's say, Scotland, Scotland, or someone north. If I come from Scandinavia, then it's nothing. It's like that. It's worse there. There's even less daylight than in here. And so everything is relative. But for people who have problem because of the weather being cold and grey, there are some systems that people use. There's something called SAD lamps. So there's a lot of different lighting that you can buy. SAD stands for Seasonal Affective Disorder, I think, something like that. And basically, our brain is missing out on daylight. And so first advice that I would give is for everyone to check their weather report. And whenever it's sunny, but even if it's not sunny, but especially if it's sunny, go out and take at least 20 minutes of daylight in your face. If it's sunny, take some sunshine. You don't want to look at the sun directly, otherwise you're going to burn your retinas. But have it hitting some part of your eye, so your brain is going to activate some stuff, is going to regulate your circadian rhythm, is going to switch on all sort of things, because now you know that it's day and we react to our environment. And so take as a habit, if you can, go out every day whenever there's some daylight, if only for 20 minutes, half an hour. Now, aside of this, the SAD lamp are artificial alternatives. So there are lamps that replicate closely enough the sort of intensity that daylight has. So it's going to trick your brain into believing that you are outside in a place where it's bright. So that's a way to deal with that. But really, as I was saying at the beginning, of that conversation. It's never just this or that. There could be an aspect of, am I fulfilled with my life? Am I doing the things that I wanted to do? Am I sticking with my New Year's resolution? Am I happy in my relationships, in my personal goals, and so forth and so on? And so focus on that. I'd say if you can focus your mind on what you really want to create for yourself, then you can actually really help with that. Because I found out the other day that so there are some neuroscience studies that seem to demonstrate that one of the things that is opposite to anxiety, as far as the brain shows, is creativity. So what we're saying basically is that they put a lot of people with the brain scan or cephalogram to read what's happening as we're doing different things. And when they are creative, the anxiety, the part of the brain, the amygdala that is in charge with anxiety, is actually at the lowest, if not switched off. It's not, I don't know if it can totally switch off, but it's not heightened. And vice versa. When we are very anxious, we can't be creative. It's one or the other. And so this is just a hack. There's more to this than that. But if you can, if you're not, unless you are fully, totally depressed, in which we need to do this differently. But if you're just feeling a bit down because it's February and you're waiting for spring to come, one of the things that you could do is to focus on doing something creative. And being creative doesn't necessarily mean painting, drawing. It can be anything at all. It can be cooking in a creative way, put things differently. You can be tidying up your place in a creative way, change things slightly differently. That can be applied to any task. And so try this, reborn. But yes, weather can absolutely affect some of us, not all of us. I, for instance, I've been living in the UK for 27 years. And for most of my life here, I never cared about it. However, for whatever reasons, in the last few years, I found that now when I go through winters, it's quite heavy. It's never affected me before, so we change. But I've got to say the last, I don't know, 3-4 years, when winter is here, I do feel that I am not as energetic and enthusiastic as I used to be in the past. It never made any difference to me. I even worked in many places for a long time that didn't have natural daylight, like in basements and places like that, and it never affected me. And so it depends. It depends on many factors. But we, at a general level, we do get affected by our environment in many different ways. And it's not just the weather. I was reading something else the other day about some psychology studies about how beauty is very important for our happiness. If we live in an era that is very poor, there's nothing, is all grey and concrete. If you live in some part of the world where it's like that, if you live in North Korea, for instance, there's no color, it's all grey, it's all just functional. This creates a lot of depression because there's not much stimulation for imagination, for excitement, for anything at all. But if you live in a place that is very colorful, very beautiful, with some trees, some plants, some colorful houses, now just that, walking in that neighborhood is going to make us much happier, just like that, because we are experiencing something different, a different environment. And so that leads us to also the idea that it's very important to surround ourselves with the right people. We all know that say that we are the sum of the 5 people that we see the most in our life. And I don't know to which level of accuracy, but the idea behind it is true. The people that we spend the most time with are going to affect us because of the type of interaction that we're going to have and who they remind us of what we think we are. So yeah. Rebecca, yep, well, the butt of the joke, life is an inside joke truly, okay? And yeah, you can't depend on empathy if you are an empathetic. You don't need that. Caroline, even though I can see why someone would be jealous and be mean, I don't see it as something positive to deal with because you happen to be around someone who are like that. But let me try to understand. There's another one. It was a classmate that had moved from my living area that was nice, and she moved to a not so nice one, so she made notes about me living alone. So I don't understand the whole of the story, but what I get from that is that you have an interaction with someone that is somehow jealous and that is causing problem for you. What I'd say, just based on that, is let it go. It doesn't matter. People are people. They do all sort of things for all sort of different reasons, and we want to get used to not judge them, because if we judge them, it's our attempt to try to fix the world in a way that fits our expectations of it. People will be jealous, people will be gossipy, people will be toxic, people will be this and that. It happens. It's a big world out there. What you can do is to realize that they are going through their own journey. We don't know, we don't want to judge, we don't know why they are behaving like that. But if it's a toxic relationship, if it's not something that is helping you, then create a space between you and them, and then focus on the good people, the people who are aligned with your energy, with your values, with your way of understanding the world, right? We can't change others, we can only change ourselves. We can only change where we decide to focus our attention on. And wherever we focus our attention on, we create more of. We shape our reality based on the power of attention, the power of focus, the power of choosing where we want our mind to be and to entertain. Rebecca, well, kids will always be kids and kidding and taunting. I disagree with that. It's like boys will always be boys. No, 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 no. It used to be. We can teach them. We can change this. We can change society and culture. So I understand what you mean. These are common say what we say. Kids will be kids. No, kids are meant to be messy and discover things. But we can teach them how to be kind and empathetic and not to prank others. With kids, pranks other kids is because there's a culture of pranks happening at home already. So they're just repeating what they know. They're looking at mom and dad and the bigger brother and sisters, and they just keep doing what they think is normal for everyone to do. But it doesn't have to be. It's like saying bullying is normal. No, it is kind of normal in the sense that it has been allowed by society, but we can work on changing this. Right? I hope we agree on this. I'm sure that we do. If I see a prank, a practical joke or prank is a trick played on people, generally causing the victim to experience embarrassment, perplexity, confusion, and discomfort. Yes, and surprising them. And so we are laughing because we're seeing their face, we're seeing their confusion. But is it nice for everyone to be confused? If you were in the skin, if you know what some people have been through, you may realize how actually cruel it is and unnecessary. Rebecca, hug emoji, I think it is hug. Caroline, but I don't think it is bad to live alone, so I understand she wanted to create an insecurity, but I don't enjoy jealous people, even though I can distance myself from them. You're judging them, you're thinking about them. If people are jealous, it's because they have a belief. The belief that that thing that they want so much is not available to them. So that creates a lot of problems in the way they behave for other people in society. But if you can understand from the human perspective, why are people jealous? Does someone decide to be jealous? Does someone chooses? Do we choose to be jealous? Do we choose to be to suffer from insecurity? To believe that I can never have this unless I lie, I cheat, or whatever? No, we all are the result of our upbringing, once again, and the belief that we have are down to our experiences as a child. And no one chooses their childhood. No one chooses their trauma. No one chooses whatever happened to them. No one chooses their education, their belief system, their parents, or their culture. And so when people are jealous, I understand why you're rejecting and projecting that. But if you can understand that we are which that we are because X, Y, Z, but no one chooses any of those things. No one chooses to be a bad person. No one chooses to hurt others. No one does it deliberately, consciously. Today, I'm going to be a criminal. Today, I'm going to do this. I'm going to end up in prison. I choose to do this. I choose to hurt others. No. If they had the choice, can I hurt people or not hurt people? They wouldn't do that. They do this because they believe that this is who I am. This is what I do. This is the only way for me to get what I want. And those are all the beliefs that are the result of our upbringing. No one chooses that. And so I know that it's a difficult one to accept and to get our head around, but this is really, really the one thing that I want to teach the most. I want to teach people that we need to stop judging others and self, and realize that if you can understand how we end up like that, things are very different. You want still to choose the people in your life and create a space between you and those with whom it doesn't work. But having said that, there's no need for us to entertain, judgment, they're bad, they must change. No. They are going to go through their own journey, just like everyone else. And in their own time, at their own pace, the universe will give them what they need to have in order to grow in their own human adventure. What do you think of this, Caroline? Does it make sense? Caroline, I don't really know how to handle people who are like that. Don't handle them. It's not your job. It's not your responsibility. We don't need to change people. They do their things. Just create a space between you and them. And focus on the people with whom it's easy for you to love and to connect with and to feel good with. Okay? Rebecca, yes, and honestly, I have to calm my ass. I'm fine, and I'm like, Rebecca, you're just used to being this way, like mega high output. And I'm being honest here, it's like I was wired, and in truth, I stand. And then I realized, Rebecca, you were wired. Okay? Okay? So I think we're talking about pranks here, right? You're saying that you used to do a lot of pranks, maybe, and you don't do this anymore because you're realizing that it's not something that you want to do anymore. Is that what you mean? Caroline, from If. People like that seem narcissistic, seriously, and without a sense of personal confidence, insecurity. So it may be true, but again, if, just like Caroline, you are still judging people, and this is what I used to judge people all my life, and I used to judge myself before everyone else. But we want to really realize that it's true that some people are insecure, but it's not a slur. People are insecure because they've been hurt, because they're scared, because they don't feel safe. And so if we see someone that doesn't feel safe, if we can help them, we're going to help them feel better about themselves. We're not going to go, you feel not safe. You've been traumatized. You're such a pussy. This is cruel. This is gaslighting. No, this is bullying. This is unkind. But we don't realize that we do this. Again, because everyone does this, and I did it myself all my life, right? I changed only a few years ago. But we want to realize that we don't have to behave like this anymore. Right? People are needy, and people are going, oh, you're so needy. Don't be so needy. And we don't realize that people who are needy are such, just like people who are insecure, because they have needs that must be met, that were never met. We must have our needs met as human beings, as people. And so if people are needy, it's not a bad thing. They're asking for something. Look at me, see me, I need some love, make me feel better. And if you can, if you are kind, if you're able to do this, give them that. And if you can't, if it's too much, it's okay. But we don't need to be unkind to them. We don't need to go, you get offended, you're such a bloody snowflakes, you don't have any spine, da 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 da. And because this is emotional bullying. And even narcissistic people, we want to keep away from them because indeed they are manipulative and they can be very, really hurtful. However, people forget that even narcissistic people suffer from a condition that they have never chosen. It sucks to be a narcissistic person. It really, really does. People don't have any idea of this. There's so much insecurity, but they never chose that. It's born from situations in their childhood. Rebecca, and I know like my abilities, and it comes through perhaps dealing with bias intent, okay? If I agree, because you have to teach people how to treat you, you can't tolerate these kinds of jokes. Thank you, If. I'm glad we agree on that. Rebecca, nah, I never accepted that. Like, grow your emotional intelligence. Like, it's important we have to safeguard our bloodline and okay. And as you being not my bloodline, perhaps I shouldn't reveal my mind to you. Laughing face emojis. We're just having a chat, tell us whatever you feel comfortable about. Right? Caroline, thank you so much for your lives, Didi. They're so helpful and great. Thank you so much, Caroline. I'm glad that you appreciate it. Thank you. Rebecca, I agree, Didi. Thank you, Rebecca. So great. Can I have an A? I don't know, A? I don't understand this, but okay. A is what you're asking for. If the transition feels awful for me, haha. Okay. The environment is very important for mental health too. Yes, indeed. So we're talking about the weather. Okay. Now I'm trying to figure out where the conversation is because I'm always behind the comment. Rebecca, yes, the grey is, I believe that I grew up in the grey Northern Ireland. Okay. But the people were colorful and strong. Yes. Okay. So there are different things that we can focus on in places like Northern Ireland or where it's very dark in winter. They create a different system, so people are not depressed. And so maybe there's more life in pubs with a lot of light and colors, and so that people have a community and they can focus their mind on this instead of the grey, the cold, and the desolation. And that's why, for instance, I believe Christmas has been invented, because Christmas is all about creating a happy time, exciting time, utilizing the dark to put some light on with some songs and some musics and some presents and some food. And I believe that this was all carefully engineered to help people dealing with winter time. And I'm talking about Christmas. Kodiga Begum, where are you at? This live broadcast is from London in the UK. Rebecca, thank you, Didi. Thank you, Rebecca. Caroline, but they are not forced to be mean. No one is forced to be mean. No one. We just do what we can. We just do what we believe we should be doing. Right? No one forces anyone. Yeah. I'm interested to understand how people's minds work. Okay. Thank you for your knowledge. It helps me to understand why people act the way they do. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Do ask me. Do ask me anything. Why do people do that, or say that, or behave in such a way? And I can explain from my perspective what I see. Rebecca, I feel like some see me as needy. It's possible. People, generally speaking, we also project a lot of ourselves, and so what people see will be more often than not a projection of how they feel about themselves. We experience who we are, we experience what we feel, what we believe, what we think, and we project outside. We project all of those things outside, and we assume that it's like this. This is how we create our own reality. If we can realize this, we can address some of our habits of thoughts, habits of emotions, and that will absolutely change our very experience of our reality. Rebecca, it's amusing. Yes, I've never felt before protected than with the Northern Irish friends. Okay, so that's your community, that's your people. You belong there, good on you. You know where your tribe is. Rebecca, but that's their essence and happiness. Yes, everyone is different. And it's about us finding our crowd, finding the right bunch of people with whom we can just be ourselves and enjoy ourselves together without having to pretend or to try to be anyone else, but we're not. Okay, so for the first time today, I'm coming to the end of the thread. Any more? I'm going to stay here probably again up till 7 o'clock or something like that, depending on how the flow goes. So I'm going to have a sip of coffee, and hopefully, again, people at the back, if you want to ask me anything, don't be shy. This is a safe space. The only difference between TikTok and YouTube is that all those lives that I do on YouTube, I leave them there, so they stay. So I understand that maybe some people don't want to leave traces behind it. If that's the case, you can follow me on TikTok, and I do at least two lives on TikTok weekly. When it depends on my schedule and my level of energy and my mood. But the lives that I do on TikTok, they disappear once they're done. And so maybe that's why some people may find more comfortable asking me some personal questions on TikTok, because there are no traces after. Whereas on YouTube, I leave them. I want people to know that I do this on a weekly basis, and so that they can join the next one. Every Saturday, at the moment, I've decided from 5 o'clock, 5 p.m. UK time, but I may change. I'm not sure, maybe 6, I'm not sure. But 5 o'clock for now, I'll make sure that I come every Saturday on YouTube and await your input and questions. Okay. Rebecca, what do you, Didi, feel is the block? What is the block? I don't know. A block is personal, it depends. Everyone has different blocks. What do you mean by blocks? If you want to expand on your question, I'd be very grateful of this. At this moment in time, I don't know what you want to ask me. We all have different blocks, and it's different for all cases. So what did you have in mind? What makes you ask that question? Thanks a lot, got me thinking a bit. I was thinking about the behavior of entitlement. This is my quote. Just because you are capable doesn't mean that you're entitled. What you make of it? Yes, I agree. Because you can do something doesn't mean that you have to do that thing. Maybe that's what you mean, no? And so, yes, it's true, we can be unkind, but we don't have to. We can perpetuate some habits that are not kind to others, but we don't have to. We can change, we can learn, we can say stop. We can say, okay, let me bring something new on the table and see what happens. And so, yeah, there's a lot of things that we can do. What matters is that we understand the bigger picture. And so when we come from a place of awareness, of knowing more options, then we have a choice, right? We can decide the next moment, maybe I want to be kinder. Maybe I don't want to be such a bully. Maybe I don't feel that I need to do this anymore. Maybe it was just a habit. And this is where the journey of self-awareness and personal growth starts. Rebecca, I know I can go on this. Let me try again. I know I can go, oh, this is my block, and this resulted in this, and that resulted in that, and there's room for this manipulation. Headstrong, egoic, butting heads. I don't understand. Let me try to understand this. So you're thinking you may analyze someone's reasons as to why they behave like that. And you're calling these blocks. What are the blocks that are getting them to do those things, right? Next. But I don't get it. But so what is the question? Or are you just sharing your thoughts? Caroline, if a person has childhood trauma and has not heard, I think you mean, and lacks safety because of a childhood trauma and gets that in a relationship, do they get dependent on the relationship to get what they needed in their childhood? Yes. Everything that happened to us in childhood, if we have not come to terms with that, we will replicate it in our relationships. We are creatures of emotions and habits. And so whatever feels normal to us is our normality. And the subconscious mind will always seek that. And so if you didn't get love in childhood, you're going to have a definition of love that is, this is love. Me being ignored, me being neglected, me being lied to or manipulated or whatever is what I call love. It's the sort of love that I deserve. And this is what I feel when I'm with those people. And so now, in your adult life, you're going to invite people, you can recognize them, you're going to locate them, you're going to see, that person makes me feel like those people in my past. And because it feels familiar, even if it sucks, you're going to feel more attracted to them. You're going to allow them in your life. You're going to allow them to do things, to say things that are going to be hurtful to you because it feels familiar. This is the big secret of the subconscious mind. The mind is designed for us to keep repeating whatever feels familiar. That's it. And the reason behind this is because it comes from an evolutionary response. It's survival. Whatever is familiar is safe. The logic behind this is that if something has happened for a long time, even if it sucks, if I'm still here, if I'm still alive, it means that it works. And that's how so many people are depressed or addicted or anxious or any of those things, because it doesn't matter how long you've been in those state. No, it's not what I mean. It doesn't matter that those states are not bringing you happiness or health. You've been doing this for a long time. And so we cannot get addicted to our internal biochemistry. What we feel with anxiety, with depression, with addiction, all those feelings, emotions, is what is normal to us. And so we will stay into the zone and we get a high of anxiety and panic attack. We get accustomed to the feeling of being depressed. We'll be, addiction, all of those things. They're just us, our mind trying to protect us by keeping us in the same sort of state we've been for the last few years. The example that I often give, I think I borrowed this from Marisa Peer, is that if I inject some drugs in my eyeball, for instance, it's not nice. It's going to be painful, it's going to be uncomfortable, and I know that it's not happy, and I know that it's not healthy. However, the brain doesn't care about happy or healthy. I'm going to do this, and if I've been doing it for a long time and I'm still alive, my mind is going to tell me, this is good. This is so you. Keep it up. Never give up. because it has become our normality, our familiar. And that's why it's so hard for people to get out of addiction or anything. Again, we get addicted to depression and anxiety and overthinking. Um, and so, um, yes. So back to your question, Caroline. In childhood, whatever that we go through is going to create some sort of habit of emotions and feelings and sensations. And the people who are going to be able to emulate that again are the ones that we're going to go towards to. We get attracted to them subconsciously because we feel familiar. And so we want to change this. And how do we do this? By changing the perception that we have of ourselves. As long as I believe that I am the same person that I used to be back then, I will still, my subconscious mind will still seek the same feelings and emotions. But if I can change this, if I can realize that I can experience other feelings and emotions and I deserve them as well, then your whole reality will change. You will attract different people. And even not just that, the people that you are with already, the interaction itself may change. Because when you meet someone, you have an idea subconsciously of who you want. So you have a narrative, and you need to find someone that fits the narrative. And they have a narrative as well. They have an idea of who they are and what sort of person they need to complement their own narrative. So we attract people who are complementing our story, and they do the same, and we're going to repeat what happened in the past. But if you behave in a different way, in that moment, you're going to show the other person that you're no longer that person, that is going to put everything in question. So that can really challenge the dynamic of the relationship, and some things may happen out of that. It's possible to change the relationship in some instances by you changing how you behave. But the reason why it doesn't change is because we don't change and they don't change. So we just continue again our habits of behavior in that relationship. I hope it makes sense, Caroline. Does it? Rebecca, and when you know that you love someone, or you know it's your place to, when they're running game in their own head and you see it, and you see, say the beneath, say the cause. Okay, so to be continued. Caroline, even though they would probably feel better if they heard and had safety with themselves and not from another person. So that's the addiction part, right? Yes, we know that we should heal. I know there's something wrong. Why do I always attract people like that? Why am I always allowing them to walk over me? And those sort of things. Because we are addicted to that sense of familiarity. It feels normal. It's like a toxic comfort zone, if you wish. So yeah, if you want to challenge this, and it starts from having an awareness of how all of this works. Rebecca, you give that we dismantle the resistance. Okay, and so in this way, you would mean to say we judge because we are capable and feel entitled because there is a reason, excuse for it, that makes us emotionally immature. We judge people because we need to have a sense of control. Judging is born from fear. The fear that I'm existing in this world, but I don't know what is the world about. And so we create a system for me to stay safe in this world. I need to know who are safe and who are unsafe to me. And so as we do this, we start to develop some systems who are good people and bad people. What is true? What is false, what is correct, what is wrong, and now we are creating all of those systems, religion, society, culture, and we are compartmentalizing everyone and everything because we need to have an illusion of control. And so judgment is that. When we judge others and when we judge ourselves, it's because we need to fit into a system that is basically a map, an explanation, a manual of life. But if you can realize that it's an illusion, and it creates a lot of problems because we can't put everyone in the same bags, everyone is vastly different, then we don't need to judge others, we don't need to judge ourselves. And a huge part of healing and growth is the ability not to judge self or others anymore. We don't need to judge, we understand. That's the difference. So judging is not because we are capable, everyone can judge. We judge because we are scared. When I judge someone, and I'm not just saying they're bad, I am also implying that since I am the one saying that they're bad, I am the good one. I am a good person. I am a good citizen. I am a good guy. I'm going to go in heaven. They're going to go in hell. Those sort of things. Rebecca, disprove the theory of assumptions and this rapport they assume. I will likely always overthink, but I know it's a trait true to me. You can change. We can all change. I used to overthink all the time. I mean, to be honest with you, no. I used to overthink. When we say that we overthink, we tend to think about thinking bad stuff. The reality is that I think always because I have ADHD. Right? When I practice meditation and mindfulness, I slow down, I think less. But there's always some sort of level of awareness, and it's okay. But you can practice how to think less. It's possible. Again, I've got ADHD. I suffer from CPTSD and all sort of other things like bipolar and borderline, and so I do really understand what it is to overthink it. But whatever that we think we are doesn't have to stay. We can change, or at least upgrade, alter any aspect of our personality. But very often, if you say, this is who I am, it's because, again, we are addicted to how we feel when we overthink. So it feels right, it feels correct, it feels familiar. When we say, this is who I am, this is my personality, again, it's like judgment. We do this because this gives us an illusion of control. If I can define myself, then I can define the world. And that's why so many people have a lot of things about themselves that they don't like, but they're still holding those things inside of them. It's not just about this is who I am, this is what I like, this is what I dislike. I'm more like dad or mum. I always do things like that. But also some people are going to say, oh, I always have headaches, I always have some tension or insomnia, whatever. And those things are not good for them. They are so attached to their personality that now they're holding those things back because it still defines them somehow. And they don't realize that they could let go of all those problems, all those things that they don't like about themselves. I'm very shy, I'm very introvert. You don't have to. If you don't like it. But we do this because we need to have some sense of control and understanding of this vast, hostile, scary world. But if we could remind ourselves that it's not scary at all. It's just a world, and the way that we look at it is going to determine whether we feel fearful or trustful of it, hopeful. Rebecca, so there's an emoji of an eagle. Okay. Lady White. Hello, Lady White. Katja. Hey, it's been a while. I hope that you're doing well. I'm very well indeed. How about you? Isabel Kamerainen. So if I like a guy that has my mum's good parts, but my mum also have toxic traits, and he has not, is it good that he feels familiar? It's not whether it's good or not. It's that we are attracted to what feels familiar. That's a fact. Right? Now, what matters is what you feel about yourself. Is it okay for you to be with someone like that? Do you feel happy? Do you feel content? Do you feel safe? Do you feel seen? Do you feel heard? Do you feel accepted? Do you feel supported? If so, then it's good. We also change. We attract what we feel as a default setup. But as we explore ourselves in our life, we change some aspect of it. And so it depends. Some people change a lot. Most people don't change. And anything in between. But some things may change. And so if a guy has my mom good parts, okay, that's good, but my mom also has toxic traits. So it's not all this or all that. There are some stuff that we're going to be more attracted to. And again, it all depends. Nothing is just this or that. But yeah, it depends on how you evolve throughout the many myriads of parameters each moment each of your life. It's not just this or that. But if you want to talk about your specific case, we can delve into it, absolutely. Caroline, I'm trying to find safety in myself and not feel safe when I am in a relationship. Give myself what I did not have in my childhood and not looking for it external. Okay, so there are different ways to go at it. So if for you it's easier to look inwards and develop some sense of safety, it's a great thing to do, right? Absolutely. You can do it through meditation, through mindfulness, through therapy. But yes, it is the way that is recommended if you can do this. Not everyone can do this because we have a life to live, and again, we have all different priorities here. We all have a different sense of self, and for some of us, we need to be with someone all the time. Like me, for instance, not anymore. I've changed, but now, ironically, I'm in a very happy, stable relationship. But all my life, I felt that I needed someone in my life. Otherwise, I was not complete. I was missing out on something. And again, this is the borderline kicking in. I felt that I was not safe. I needed to be loved. Now, I understand that we all need to be loved, but because I love myself, it doesn't come from a place of lack anymore. It comes from a place of abundance and connection, and it's a natural flow. That's the difference. Rebecca, okay, fair enough. I don't want to make people experience. Maybe that's my thing. Well, different. Experience suffering because I don't trust anyone, but in a wild way, I trust in everyone. Okay. You are a bundle of contradictions, Rachel. But we can talk about this more if you want. Caroline, meditation and self-parenting is a big one, okay? But I'm trying to turn around, so I don't look for others to heal it for me, because if there would be a breakup, then my childhood wound still would be there. Okay, so you are overprotecting yourself. You're doing this because you don't want to be back into that place of total despair after you've been rejected. Well, whatever feels right for you is your thing. You know, there's no system that is universally better for anyone. What I'd say is follow your path of least resistance. So each moment, listen to your body, listen to your intuition, listen to your gut, and feel what is the easiest thing for you to do, or the easiest thing for you not to do. Either. The path of least resistance is not necessarily allowing something. Sometimes it's about doing the thing that you want to do. That will feel easier for you. So pay attention to your body and listen, follow your intuition, and that should actually look after you. And do whatever your body tells you to do. That's what I was trying to say. Ali. Hey, hello, welcome to publishing. Ali, please, slow, I don't understand otherwise. Okay, this is my pace. So if you want to ask me something specific, Ali, I will slow down specifically for you. But I may forget every now and then, so you have to remind me. I can't promise 100%. If and self-worth. Okay, something about self-worth. I lost the plot, but okay. Ali, thank you. If I think one of the hard things to do is to come in terms that our parents are human and we're not supposed to excuse their choices and actions. Things go by phase, so it's not just this or that. Again, we want to come out of that black and white thinking. Who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy? Whose fault is it? Who's done wrong? Who was right? Who's the culprit? Who's the innocent? It's not like that. It goes by phase. Everything is contextual. And so when we go through healing, through therapy, we need to realize that we have an inner child, and the inner child is our emotional mind. And when we're hurt, when we've been traumatized or neglected, then that's because our nervous system, our emotional mind has been shaken, too much intensity, too much overwhelm, and that inner child doesn't feel safe. Our emotional mind feels unsafe. And so let me go back. And so the first stage of healing is to address things from the position of the child. So the child needs to understand that it was not its fault. When we are a child, even if our parents are horrible to us, we can never really blame them because we need them to survive. And so we're going to blame ourselves. Whatever horrible things or just neglect, ignoring us, letting us feel unsafe because we are not being loved unconditionally. All those things are going to make us feel terrible and going to think, it's because of me. My parents are not here. It's not because we are too busy at work. It's because I am not important enough to deserve for them to prioritize me. We're going to believe that everything is because of us. And so the first stage of healing is to accept that it's not you. And so as a child, we only have a binary way of understanding things. So it's got to be them. So the first stage is to accept it's not you, it's them. You hurt because of your parents. They did it to you. It was never you. It was never you. It was always the adult. But it's only in that moment we need to appease and teach your inner child, your emotional mind this. However, after that, once you have let go of all the resentment, the fear, the anger, the distress that is emotional in your body, the next level of healing is to realize that now I can look at things from that perspective, not the emotional mind, the rational, logical, analytical mind. And I can see now my parents as people. They're not just my parents who are on the pedestal, who have all power, all knowledge over me. Now I can see them as human beings, and I can realize it was not their fault either. They did what they did, or they didn't do what they didn't do, because of their own upbringing and their own parents. So now we're saying, so the first stage is, it's not my fault, it's my parents' fault. The next stage is, it's not my parents' fault, it's my grandparents' fault. The next stage is, it's no one's fault. It's what's been going on for many generations. It's passed on. This is what we call generational trauma. And we don't need to have a culprit. It's not black or white. Whose fault is it? It's about understanding that we are the continuation of a story that started many generations before us. And so now we're coming to a point where we can say, stop, that's enough. I'm going to be the one that is going to heal not only myself, but also my whole lineage. When you heal yourself, you heal everyone else. You are the residue, the recipient, the continuation of everything that happened in all of your family's own nervous system. And so, there you go. It goes by phase. Again, everything is contextual, so it depends on the context. So the context first is to heal your emotional mind, and then you can realize that it doesn't have to be anyone's fault. But not everyone is able to do this. Sometimes we've been so hurt that people are not able to forgive, and it's okay. We're all different. At least if you find a way to get it out of the system, that's a good thing. Because it's about healing yourself. Now, whatever happens in regards to the parents is a whole different conversation. Does it make sense? But again, as with everything, if you can zoom out and look at the bigger picture, we find more explanations, more solutions, more ways to heal ourselves and grow also as a human being. Rachel, excuse their choices. Nah, no one is excusing. So here's the thing. Excusing means that it's still the same limited paradigm of black and white. It's about understanding. Right? But that's a whole discussion. I mean, I might get there at some point, but I don't know if that's what you want to talk about right now. If I mean by circumstances, of course. Okay. Rachel, excuse your judgmental, narcatory, they beat us, they are growing up themselves. I don't understand, Rachel. Ali, H. Ali, did you read Bertrand Russell, The History of Western and Eastern Philosophy? No, I didn't. What is it about? Is it any good? Rachel, we gotta be responsive. Ali, Western Reds is so sad. And they judge themselves harsher than you could imagine in most cases. And that's no win. So I'm not sure where you are at this part of the conversation, but I would agree with the fact that indeed it's very sad when we judge ourselves. It's very sad when we judge, when anyone judge anyone. We don't need that anymore. Unless we live in fear still. Caroline, Yes, I feel the narrative in society is the way did you used to feel about relationships. The narrative feels pressuring for me because I would like to feel safe in myself and enjoy self-care. Okay, just do what you feel you can do, and life, the universe will carry you, and things will get better at some point. As long as you keep going, things will get better. I believe that for the vast, vast, vast majority of us. But you need to keep going. And we don't know when things are going to get better and in which way they're going to get better either. But some things will get better. Rachel, I honestly was very suicidal, but was valid in my mind for at least 8 years. Okay, do you want to talk about this? So stubborn, honestly, because there was something I personally had to realize. Okay, ... If it makes sense when the logical mind is active after the emotional roller coaster, it's easy to understand the history behind their actions. Yes, the thing is there is also choice for them to become better. If they are being taught, if they are able to pass through their own emotional blocks. Some of us, especially the previous generations, we've been so traumatized about not expressing our emotions that we may not be able to do this. Things are changing, things are getting better, but imagine being a kid in previous generations where whatever you experience was 10 times more intense, as in you can never express yourself, you can never behave like a child, you have to repress everything, you can never show when you're sad. If you're a boy, you can never be sad. If you're a girl, you can never be angry. Repression, and even if you're happy, if you're too excited, you can't. Be quiet, contain yourself. Then it's going to be very difficult for all those people, those parents, to pass through the emotional blocks to understand what is happening. It's possible, but we need to have empathy and compassion and understand that we're all different, so we can't project what we think we would behave on them. Thank you for the little thingy. Rachel, yes, if, and some parents just don't change, but that is from the perspective of the heard child. So some people will change, some people will not change. What matters is that we change. Right? Other people changing or not is none of our business, really. It is their journey. It's for them to do. We can give them some hints. We can spread a bit of love and show them that we have changed, and so maybe they can as well because we have. That can be. But we can't really change anyone. No one can change anyone, and we want to stop expecting for people to change. It's not none of our business. The only one person that matters as far as changing is concerned is us. Everyone goes through their own journey, and we can be there with them. We can love them unconditionally or not. But if we are saying, those people, I want them to change, it means we want to control them. We want them to fit our idea of how we should be, and this is wrong, because they have their own life, their own experience to go through. They need to discover who they are in their own means and ways and timing. Rachel, there is a choice. Caroline, I would like to like a person because I like the company and not because they soothe a childhood wound or something I liked in childhood. But it's very similar. If you like the company, it depends. It depends. If you being with someone that makes you feel safe, it's also something that we need in a relationship. Even if we don't have any trauma, even if we don't have any wounds from the past, love is about 4 things. We need to be safe with that person. We need to be seen and heard. We need to be accepted. And we need to feel supported. If we have those 4 things, this is what we all need. Those are our needs. When we talk about unmet needs, those are the needs that we need in childhood and in adulthood. And so it's not just about you being ready for someone. It's a good awareness to have, but at the same time, you must live your life. You want to feel good, you want to enjoy life, you want to be happy, you want to discover different things, meet different people. And so I'd say, if you can, give yourself a chance, give people a chance, and just go out and see what happens. With the awareness that also you need to work on some aspect of yourself inside. It's not just this or that. Because the way that you say it, Caroline, tells me that you are scared of relationships, you're scared of being hurt, you want to be ready for it. And you may never be ready. We're never ready for something because the idea of being ready for something is just an imagination, right? What we can do is to have an awareness that we want to indeed upgrade some aspect of ourselves, but still get going and see what happens. You will always get better as a human being all of your life anyway, so you might as well get started now. Don't hold things back. The best way to get better at something is to dive in, right? So yeah. Rachel, but if we like basing our decisions on other perceptions, realities, we shouldn't. So this is the thing, we do that. We base our decisions on other perceptions and realities all the time. We believe that their opinion of us is more important than our opinion of ourselves. And this is wrong. We are seeking external validation. We get addicted to that. What are they thinking about me? What is my reputation? What do they say? And in reality, none of those things really matter. But because we believe that, and as long as we believe that, we're going to be a slave to a system that is hurting everyone. Instead of tapping into our own authenticity and finding out who we are and attracting the right people, subsequently, we are in the wrong place with the wrong people, trying to be someone that we are not. Nicola, I feel too intensive, especially negative emotions. What should I do? You need to find out what it is that you suffer from, right? It's a dysregulation. It can be a trauma that has not been healed. It can that often in itself is a situation, but also can develop other situations. So you can have bipolar, you can have borderline personality disorder, you can have some neurodevelopmental disorder, maybe ADHD, autism. It could be so many different things. So it depends. You want to find out what it is that you could, how you could define what you have. Right? Emotional dysregulation is something that you find in most mental illnesses. And they're all born from an overwhelm that happened to you at some point, and this is what we call trauma. Overwhelm of not feeling safe, overwhelm of being too much distress, too much things happening, too much pain or suffering, too much fear. And so now, as a result, your nervous system believes that it's going to happen again. It's always ready to protect yourself. And when someone is going to say something, you're going to see something, very small things, and you're going to be hyper. It's going to be a huge thing. You're going to be, what people say, offended or something like that. Or you may have a panic attack even. And that's because you have not regulated your nervous system. You have not taught your subconscious mind, okay, it happened then, now it's not there anymore, and I can actually use my intelligence to deal with the things anymore. I don't need to have that to protect me anymore. So yes, I feel too intense, especially with negative emotions. You may be suffering from some sort of depression. It could be so many things, Nicola. Do you want to tell us more about what are the patterns? What are the main problems in your life? What are the patterns, the things that come back all the time that are creating problems for you? If you can give me that, maybe we can find a direction to go. Rachel, like we're the basis for it, like what we do is based on, okay, it's not necessarily what that, but dependent on if that's the case, that's slowly, ... If I understand more than ever that some parents never had the choice to begin with, and having compassion is important, but also boundaries. Yes. To be honest with you, no one chooses anything. People don't choose their life. They behave in whichever way they believe they should, based on their own understanding of themselves, based on their own system of belief that was absorbed through their childhood. So we don't choose. We like to believe that we choose. We like to believe that people choose. But the reality is that 95% of what we do is automatic, subconscious, emotional, and we suffer. And we also are upset at others because we believe that people have a character. They do it on purpose. They chose it, but we don't. We are limited by how we feel about ourselves in regards to any situation each moment of the day. Every single one of us. 95% of our mind is subconscious, subconscious. We have no reach to it from this, so we don't know about it. It's not automatic. It's subconscious, right? It's a very important point, but it's so simple, but so many people find it difficult to get their head around. 5% is conscious, and that's an estimation. Some people may never be conscious at all. And that moment of consciousness is when we reflect on ourselves, as opposed to when we are going through the day. Now, from the moment we wake up is the rat race, and we just do everything that we normally do without thinking about it. We wake up, we brush our teeth, put clothes in, we walk to work, we think about work as we're walking there. As soon as we see people, we begin to remind ourselves, who am I in regards to that person? And based on the nature of the relation that you have with that person, you will have a different energy. You will say different things, you will behave a different way, you will feel differently. So you will feel differently if you speak to your boss, to your colleague, to your client, to someone that you like, to someone that you dislike, to a stranger, and so forth and so on. And so it's all automated. The thoughts that you have, they are, for the vast majority of them, spontaneous thoughts. They are born from your subconscious habits. They are happenings. You don't choose them. So, for instance, if I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to have a coffee, that may be triggered by a lot of things that were put into place. Maybe you're thinking, I'm going to have a coffee because it's that time in the morning where I normally think about having a coffee. Maybe you're going to have that thought of having coffee because there's a colleague next to you who's having coffee. You can smell it. You don't see it, but you can smell it. And that is triggering something in your mind. Ah, coffee. I can have one. Maybe you are on the computer and you see an ad for a coffee shop and you're thinking, oh, coffee. Whatever thought, whatever thing that we go through is all automated for the vast majority of us. So we don't choose. When people are being horrible to us, when they're neglecting us, when they're hurting us, it's because this is based on what they believe they are, what they should be doing. And for the vast majority of time, even though we have a lot of self-deprecation when it comes to doing things in life, in society, we believe that we're doing the right things. So yeah. But you do say compassion is very important indeed. Compassion and boundaries. Yes, compassion is to understand, and boundaries is I understand, but I'm not going to allow you to hurt me. So yes, absolutely. Boundaries. I think there's a kinder definition of boundaries, and to me, the way that I like to explain it to people is that boundaries is a safe zone where we are both happy and safe and content. This is what boundaries should be. Right? If we can't have boundaries with someone where we are both following the same rules, it's like Switzerland, this is boundaries, then we can't function together. We don't necessarily want to think about boundaries like a wall, a fortress to protect me from the bad people. It's about creating a safe zone, a safe space where we can both get along and communicate and respect each other. If exactly lead by example and not expect anything. Okay, yes, I agree with that. Rachel, no, I'd say accept everything. Pavel, a woman only into money. Pavel. You don't really mean this, do you? So I'm just going to pretend that it's a serious question. First, generalizing everyone is the most laziest intellectual move. It's like all women, they're all the same. Like about 8 billion people in the world, 4 billion people, they're all the same just because they're women. It's not like that. People will say all women, all men, all women, or all this or that. They're really narrowing their intellectual potential, right? And so, first, there's no such thing as all women, and then are they into money? What does that mean? For me, it's a sort of question that is actually coming with an agenda. You're trying to dismiss women, you have an agenda, or you just want to get a reaction from me, to provoke me, so that I do exactly what you want me to say. But the only difference is that I don't take this seriously. I don't believe that you're serious about this. And so, but if I was going to answer a question, no. Just a simple answer to your question. A woman only to money. No, no, no to every single word in whichever configuration is going to be presented. Rachel, within reason. Pavel, women want real love and protection. Pavel, and what's real love? First, you need to find attractive. Okay. So real love is an experience that is different for everyone. It's a moment, it's an emotion, it's something that you share as a memory. It's not a thing that you can collect, it's not a thing that you can control, it's not a thing that you can accumulate. And so there are some conditions for love to exist. And I talked about it just before. For someone, for two people to have a happy relationship, and we can call it love, those people need to be both feeling safe. They need to be seen and heard. We need to feel accepted for who they are, and they need to feel supported in the things that they like. If you have all four things, now you can have a happy relationship, and that is love. But there's not one definition of it. Again, often I say how in Greek mythology there's more than one god of love or goddess of love. And so love is evolutionary, it changes shape, it depends. But I believe that it's different slightly for everyone depending on what they believe of love. But they need those four conditions that I mentioned before. Rachel, yes, know yourself is the thing. Okay. Know like I like you, you make it easy. Love energy. Okay. Thank you, Rachel. Caroline, you're so right. I think that I want to heal so much and say no all the time to love. Okay. But I like my own time as well, and I'm more introverted. Do, again, as I said, follow your path of least resistance. Do what feels better for you in this moment, but remind yourself to ask yourself that question regularly. Right? As opposed to, I've made up my mind, and then you get to stick to that for hours, days, weeks, months, years, not realizing that we change each moment. And so, in that moment, what is easier for me? And then do things, and the next day, the next moment, ask yourself again, now it's a different moment. How do I feel about myself? What would be my path of least resistance right here, right now, with that configuration of things? Take it one moment at a time, Caroline. We change all the time, and the universe is constantly moving and changing. So even if you feel that you're not changing so much, things around you may change gradually as you allow yourself to be in your more easiest state, a state of non-resistance, a state of peace and serenity. Rachel, yes, I don't need anything through being here. I'm just bouncing ideas. Okay, all right, okay. Well, at least you're honest, and that's more valuable than you know concerning the weather and the view of... Yes, and poor is... Okay, it's a bit confusing, but okay. Josiah Lawrence. I don't know how to say that name. Josiah? I hope that I'm not butchering your name. Josiah Lawrence. Can you have boundaries without consequences? No. Everything that we do has consequences. But also everything that we don't do has consequences. Everything that we allow has consequences. Why? Because the world is always changing. The universe is always constantly moving and fluctuating. And so whatever that we choose to do or not do, it's a choice. An action is a choice of action. A non-action is the choice of non-action, but it's still a choice. And so even if we don't do something, we're going to allow something, right? What you don't choose to change, you choose to allow. And so whatever that we choose or don't choose, there's always consequence anyway, because there's always things happening. If someone speaks to me, I can choose to reply to them in different way. I can say yes, I can say no, I can ignore them, and whichever action will have a consequence. It will be a different consequence. It will show and express itself in a different shape and form and intensity, but there are always consequences to everything because evolution, because everything is connected, because the law of cause and effect. And so everything has consequences. And this is what we call karma. Whatever we do, whatever we think, whatever we feel, whatever we believe, whatever we allow, all of those things, whatever we let go of, each moment we make choices at different level, mental, emotional, behavioral, but all of those choices, they dictate the next moment, right? It's a flow. We're going to flow in different direction, and we are also subjected to different energy and waves happening. And so, depending on our environment, what is happening in this moment, our decision of the moment will have a different impact. But yes, everything has consequences. So when you set boundaries, I understand what you mean. Very often, people are scared of setting boundaries because they're scared of the consequences. But here's the thing: just as I explained it, if you don't set the boundaries, you're still going to get some consequence anyway. So which consequence would you rather? If you say no, but you might think, oh, and I'm getting into trouble because now we're going to not be happy about this, right? But then again, you don't know, because there could be so many possible consequences out of this. But if you don't set boundaries, you will also have other consequences. You will still feel rubbish. They will still take advantage of you. You will still be invisible to them. And you will still feel worse and worse every day. So things are still going to change, but in the wrong direction. Does it make sense, Josiah? Rachel, not knowing our nature, ability, gift, etc. I don't agree that the 5 people around us make us all, but we use it. I don't agree that the 5 people around us make us at all. We use the info, however, if we're smart. So it's not just that, it's not the info. Really, the people who are around us, it does make a difference. And the reason I'm going to explain why. Because we all hypnotize one another all the time. When we speak to people, when people speak to us, whatever thing that we say, the way we talk to ourselves or about ourselves, the relationship that we have with people, they're going to remind us who we are in this world. And so let's say if I'm in a family and I've got a narcissistic parent, and I'm always staying in that family, I live there, that is going to have grave consequences on my mental health, because as long as I'm there, that parent that is narcissistic to me will keep on reminding me of who I believe I am. I am not enough. I am a doormat. I am nothing. And that will affect me, right? If my surrounding is with people who are positive, optimistic, happy, I'm going to feel better about myself. They're going to be kind to me. And so it's going to give me another idea of who I believe I am. Right? People say this, generally speaking, when it comes to stuff related to money, success, and abundance. And so if you are surrounded by 5 people who are very entrepreneurial, very ambitious, that will up your game, and so you will be more going to that direction, and you will be much more likely to succeed in the ways that you want to succeed with sort of people. But if you are surrounded by people who are not ambitious, who don't believe in success, now it's going to be impossible for you to get there, because you're going to absorb their negative thoughts about success, and it's going to hold you back. So it is in that sense that the people that we spend the most time with are influencing us. There's a phenomenon of hypnosis. We hypnotize each other, but also we remind ourselves of who we are. The people that you are with, they remind you each moment of who you are. The people that you spend the most time with, right? Not only through your interactions, but just by them existing in your life. I hope it makes sense. If you are, let's say, someone who suffered from abuse in the past, and you allow some people to still abuse you, as long as you're with them, they will keep reminding you that you are still the same person, and you still deserve to be taken advantage of, because you're still allowing them in your life. But if you can change the group and be with only nice and kind people, you will tell your subconscious mind, I deserve to have kind people in my life. I deserve to have people who see me, who see my beauty, who support me, who like me. Josiah, from If, can a thief steal without consequences? Steal your peace, your life, reputation, amongst others. So here we're talking about judgment again. It's not about the judgment. It's about the law of cause and effect. There's a bigger picture than the laws of humans. There is everything to do with life and nature. Whatever that we do has consequence, right? If I drink the coffee here, now the consequence is that I've got some coffee going down my throat. That's the consequence. The next consequence, I've got my belly and I can feel the caffeine and I'm happy. So everything has consequences that are far beyond judgment, moral, sins, virtue, people, right? But I get you, it's true that it also works at a societal level. Josiah Lawrence, if it depends on how smart the thief is. Okay, so you're talking between the two of you at the same level within the same context, which is fair enough. Rachel, if of course not, I'll always come back. The thing is, you see it as a bias, 100%. and don't let the bias infiltrate your spark. I'd rather go against the grain. Caroline, do we feel peace when we accept everything? It's not about accepting everything. It's about accepting what we cannot change. Every moment is different. Every moment, our experience is different. And so when we accept what we cannot change, we feel better. But if we accept someone taking advantage of us, and we could leave, but not, we're going to accept that they are hurting us instead of saying no, we're not going to be happy about this, right? So it depends. Everything is depend on what we're talking about. We feel peace when we accept that there's a bigger plan for us, designed by the universe. And we often suffer because we are resisting our own fate. We have a plan that we have no idea about, that is better than anything that we can imagine. But because we've been told that your life must be like that, for you to be happy, you must do this, you must be that, you must have this, you must show this. And so we are resisting all the other possibilities that we don't even know what they are. And so acceptance is about accepting what we can't change, but also accepting ourselves. Accepting that I am not perfect. I have flaws just like everyone else. I've done things, I've said things that were not so nice, but I can accept it because whatever I have done in the past, I did it because it's the only thing that I knew then. I didn't know any better. Now I know if the same thing happened again, I will behave differently. But back then I didn't, so I'm going to forgive myself. I'm going to accept that I effed up and it's okay. I'm going to accept that everything that happened to me, it was never my fault, it was never anyone's fault. Back to what I was saying before. It's just a happening. We are the continuation of the flow that started a long time ago. And if we can accept this, yes, we can be happy and we can see what the universe had in store for us all along. Someone, but I can't read the name, is calling me Yakuza. So this is not clever. So I'm going to move on. Hopefully you're not going to be there by the time I go down, because it's just mean, it's nasty, it's petty, right? It's racist. And this is what people do. People who are online sometimes, and I understand this because I used to be the same. Sometimes we're so unhappy with our life. We're so angry. We don't know what else to do but to be horrible to strangers online, because at least we're being seen, we're being heard, we can express ourselves. We can let go of frustration. But please, if you can, don't do this here. Why? Because I'm using that space to help people. Right? There's a time and a place for everything. I don't know. Hopefully you can find some kindness in your heart to stop this. It's not productive. I don't mind. I can ignore it. But you're just wasting your energy, and it's creating bad vibes for everyone else here. But if you want to talk about your own problems, do ask me. I genuinely understand, and I mean what I said. I understand that sometimes we don't know how to interact with people in any other way than to get a reaction from them. And we have so much anger that we need to find a way to let go of that anger and frustration or pain. And so, yeah. We can talk about it if you want. Rachel, I am a fighter, and I'm a fighter and a lover, okay? I'm sorry, I see you. You are very good at things. Okay, thank you, Rachel. If at Josiah, like Elon and Trump, okay? But the consequences of their action are felt by other people. I find I don't care about anyone else mentally fascinating. All right, okay. So basically you are saying that you find it fascinating, and I get it. How people like Elon Musk and Donald Trump have no empathy or care in the world for anyone else. So they are psychos, they are narcissistic, they have a problem here that is getting them to behave like that. And it's true that they don't care about anyone. And that's why it's so dangerous. They don't care about anything, they have the power, and they're just playing with that power. Cloud9 Whiskey. Hello again, enjoy your content. Thank you so much, Cloud9 Whiskey. Josiah, what if I really did something bad and shameful? How do I share shameful thing we've done from the past with a new partner? With honesty, with humility, with vulnerability. Tell them, I did that and I'm so sorry that I did that, but I can't change the past. But I accept that I did wrong and I've learned out from it and I have changed. I used to be horrible to a lot of people for 38 years of my life because of my conditions. And I hated myself. I hated the things that I did, but I couldn't help because I didn't know any better. And so my own journey of self-love and healing has been a long one and is ongoing. But it was really important for me to realize that, and it's the same for everyone, we can only do what we what we can do. We like to believe that we have the fantasy that we could have done things differently then. And it's not possible. Whatever we do is only the only one thing that we can ever do, because we are limited and run by our emotional mind. The way that I feel in this moment is going to dictate my reactions. And so if I've been traumatized, if I have a lot of conditions, if I'm addicted to drugs and alcohol and I'm high and drunk, I'm going to react emotionally to a perceived threat. And someone else is going to say something that is innocuous to everyone else. To me, it's going to be grave danger. I'm going to overreact. But from my place, it's the only thing that I could do. I could not have behaved in any different way, and I will regret it afterward. But we can't regret things that we couldn't have done differently anyway, if we think about it like that. And so you can tell your partner, just like me, sometimes people ask me about my past, and I'm happy to say things because I'm transparent, I'm honest, and it's important for me to display transparency and honesty, especially as a therapist. But I would tell them, this is what I've done, and I'm so sorry that I've done that, and I was a horrible person, but I've learned and I've changed, and I hope that they can forgive me. And if they don't, I accept it. I take it on the chin. It's my fault. I did it. But even when I say it's my fault, it's understanding that back then that's all that I could do. Now I can forgive myself. I can practice self-compassion. So we still want to accept that we have hurt others, but we don't want to think that it's because I'm bad. It is because I didn't know. It's because I was hurt. It's because it's the only way I knew how to react or to deal with that situation back then, based on all the things that happened to me and the belief that I have because of my upbringing, an upbringing that I have never chosen. So does it help, Josiah? Rachel, I love when you put the glasses on. All right. Okay. You are being condemned, Josiah. Rachel, yes, 100%. Cloud9 Whiskey. Do you enjoy red wine with an oaky taste with tasty meal? I used to. I love, actually, I don't drink anymore, but when I used to drink wine, I actually liked the oaky taste. I like the wood, I like the depth of it, like a smoky taste. That was actually my favorite kind of red wine. But I don't drink alcohol anymore, like zero. Caroline, it was interesting to know that just being in the same place as the parent you grew up with who was abusive affects you. Of course, of course. So it's not just what they teach us, it's not just how they interact with us, but it's also how we see them. Whatever we observe from our parents becomes our template for our future life. The way we behave, the way we think, the way we talk to ourselves, the way we talk to others, the way we see the world, the way we react to everything is the way they did back then. For the vast majority of us, and unless we change this because we're doing some work on ourselves. Rachel, Josiah, just share. Caroline, even when they are not abusive in the moment. Yes. It's not everything is about abuse. There's a lot of ways how we can be negatively impacted by the behavior of our parents just because of the way they deal with their life, the way they deal with stress and adversity, the way they deal with overwhelm, the way they deal with reject, with clashes is going to be what we learn from them. And also we feel the energy. If a parent is depressed, we're going to have a propensity for depression ourselves, or anxious, or reactive, or judgmental. Rachel, why is everybody like, if you drink or smoke? What do you mean? What a cop-out, what a win, so judgmental. What are you talking about, Rachel? I haven't got a clue. Your mind is very fast and it's all over the place. Just going to check one thing. Okay, I was just checking that it was happening there as well. Okay, so it is 10 minutes to 7. I can stay a bit longer, maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes to complete 2 hours. So anyone would like to speak about anything else, please? Josiah, shame seems to make me feel bad about who I am. Guilt makes me regret what I did. Are these definitions right? I feel like part of my identity is bad. Okay, so let's talk about this. So you are right. Guilt is I've done something wrong, or I should have done that. Shame is I am bad. That's the difference. With guilt, it's easier because with guilt, we can change our behavior. But if we are ashamed, it's me. This is who I am. This is who I am inherently. It's part of my identity. I can never change this. And that's why shame is so corrosive, toxic, bad for all of us. It's an illusion. It's not true. It's been invented by society to control people. If you have shame, feel shame about yourself. Society, religion, they can control you. They can manipulate you. You've sinned. You should be ashamed. And so now you need to repent. You need to do all those things, listen to us. Otherwise, you're going to end up in hell and that sort of things. And so we want to realize that shame is something that we can learn over time to let go of. The very concept of it is an illusion, is a lie. There's no such thing. There shouldn't be anything such as shame. It was only a manipulation, a gaslighting tactic created because back then we needed a system for society to function, and that's all they came up with. They came up with then. Now we have intelligence. We don't need those things anymore. And so shame is indeed what you believe you are, the bad things about you, and guilt is what you should have, could have done, or didn't do. I feel like part of my identity is bad. So yes, we suffer because indeed we have been so conditioned, programmed, led to believe that we should be shameful about ourselves, that part of our identity are of shame. Right? And this is pretty much, if you think about it, all those religious dogmas have created all the problems that are related to mental and emotional health. No more or less, shame. And so healing is the opposite. It's learning how to love all the parts within us, even the shameful part of it. And eventually, as we accept those parts, instead of repressing them, ignoring them, running away from them, we can process them, and we can start to change how we feel about ourselves. But as long as we are avoiding some parts of us, some emotional parts, they're going to keep wanting to come back and make you feel terrible about yourself. They affect us in many different layers, not just mentally and emotionally, but also physically, as in physical health. Rachel, yes, and death, aka transformational ability, comes quicker to the best of us. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but fair enough. Josiah, how do you let go of desires associated with the shame? So do you need to be more specific here? Are you talking about some shame to do with sex? Is that what you mean? Because this is a whole different conversation altogether, and we can talk about it if you want. Remember, I'm a therapist. But how do you let go of desire associated with the shame? I think it's not like that. It's the other way around. It's not that you have desire. First you have some desire, and then because these desires are deemed shameful by society, now you're going to feel the shame. Does it make sense? And so what you want to do is to understand whether those desires are really to be ashamed of, because the truth of the matter is that a lot of our desires are okay. But society has a lot of rules and dogmas and self-righteousness, and it's going to make us feel terrible about ourselves. And so, for instance, a typical example, corn, like P-O-R-N. A lot of people, most people in society, are going to really be against it. It's bad, you should be ashamed. But it doesn't have to be. It depends. It depends on the mind and the state that you have when you do those things. Corn can be absolutely very healthy in a single or in a relationship even. It depends, it's just a thing. And And so, yeah, it depends on what you call shame and desire, right? We're all different, and we tend to be limited again by the judgment system that society has conditioned us to believe. Is that what you meant, Josiah, or was it something else? Josiah, wrong desires. What is a wrong desire? Because also there's something called intrusive thoughts. So now we're talking about something else. Sometimes we have some intrusive thoughts and it's not something that we really want, but somehow the thoughts are here. So some people may have some intrusive thoughts about having some sex with some random people, with some underage people, very inappropriate things. And it's not even something that they enjoy, but they can't help thinking about it. So do you have intrusive thoughts? It's a whole different thing together. If you do, we can talk about this. I can explain to you why some people have intrusive thoughts and what to do about it. But first I need to determine, are those desires really bad or not? Why is it wrong? Rachel, stop trying to cop out Josiah. Please, Rachel, don't do this. Josiah is trying to speak to me. It's a safe space. If you're going to tell him things like that, it's not nice and kind from you. Please don't. I'm here to support everyone, and I want to help out Josiah. EU society is EU, even if you won't pick me up, easy. Rachel, stop this, please. Please, I know that you're better than that. So I'm going to wait, hopefully, for Josiah to tell me about something else. Rachel, also my name is Rebecca. Ah, Rebecca. Okay, Rebecca, stop this. Rebecca, please, be kind. If you can. If not, then it's going to be difficult for us to be friends. And I really want to be your friend. Rachel, look, I am. If I guess I picked the right name, if is it Rachel? Okay, thank you, Rachel. Thank you. Josiah, desires about wanting women who are taken. Okay, all right, okay. You want to do some therapy here. You want to find out why your mind thinks that women who are taken are somehow more desirable than those who are not taken. You have created an association somewhere in your subconscious mind that women who are taken already are more interesting, more exciting than people who are not taken. Now, there could be an explanation. There could be so many explanations, but I can give you just one randomly. I don't know if it's the one for you. But one of the reasons why some people may have those thoughts could be because maybe they didn't have love in childhood. They don't believe that being in a happy family is available to them because mom and dad were always fighting, cheating on each other. So they believe that love is not available to them. And now in adulthood, they're going to go seek a relationship, but their mind is going to remind them, remember, being in a happy relationship is not available to you. And so what it means is that our mind, if we believe that something is not available to us, we also believe that it's maybe dangerous. So it's going to try to protect us from the danger to be in a happy relationship. And so it's going to twist your way of thinking and think, you know what, who is exciting? People who are not available. So now you're going to be attracted to people who are taken already because you know that those people will never be in a position to offer you a long, loving, stable relationship. So that could be one explanation. Does it make sense? Sometimes the belief that we have about ourselves twists our perception of things because it wants us to protect us from something that we deem dangerous. So again, if I believe that being in a happy, loving relationship is not available to me, my mind is going to protect me from it because it could be harmful to me, and it's going to only get you to be interested to people who are either emotionally unavailable or people who are married, because you know that for sure it's going to be very hard for them to be with me since they are already married. or in a relationship. Does it make sense? And again, it's just one assumption amongst thousands of possibilities. Rebecca, Laura Eaton. So I thought it was Rachel. Are you Rachel? Are you Rebecca? I'm going to call you Reed. It's too confusing. Josiah, I understand. That resonates with me. Fantastic. Thank you, Josiah. Thank you. I'm glad that's something you could relate to. Again, it could be something else, but that's one of the things that popped into my mind as one of the potential possibilities. Caroline, how can you work on accepting things in the past that you regret you did? By acceptance is this. Accepting is embracing the notion that you cannot go in the past. We don't have a time machine that can get us to go back into the past and change things. If we can accept just that, it's not about accepting what we've done. It's not about accepting what we haven't done. It's about accepting that we can't go back in the past. The moment we fully accept that we just cannot go back in the past, we let go of regret. We let go of nostalgia. We let go of all of those things. This doesn't exist anymore. But we need to spend some time thinking about that concept and accepting that we cannot go back in the past. It may take some time, but eventually from here it will drop there, and that's when we are free from regrets and nostalgia. Right. We have a lot of beliefs that are unrealistic, and because of those beliefs we suffer. And so I often talk about the three main ones. And again, beliefs are subconscious, and so we don't have awareness of them. But the first belief that we all have, at least at the start of our life, is that things must go my way. And if things don't go my way, I'm going to feel terrible about myself. It's just a belief, but you know that it's true, because when things don't go away, we feel bad because of that belief. Now, what are the chances that things are always going to go away? Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't, but we can't expect. As long as we believe that belief, we will expect, and we will be disappointed when our expectations are not met. And so we want to change that belief. Sometimes things go my way, sometimes they don't, and it's okay. And the next one is life must be fair. And another one is people must treat me fairly. And another one is I can go back into the past. It's not realistic, it's not true. It's just a belief. Change that. We can't go back in the past. Spend some time thinking about this. Spend some time meditating on that. We can't go back into the past. We must accept that what we used to be was what we used to be then. That's all that we knew. We only know what we know. We don't know what we don't know. So we can only do what we can do at any given time. We can't go back and change. And also, yeah, we are looking back at the past with what we know now. Back then, we didn't know any of those things. And so the next thing, once we have accepted that we can't go back in the past, is to accept I've grown, I've learned, I've changed, I've added some information. I have become a slightly better human being now. Thank you for that experience. Thank you for the past. Thank you for the problems that I've created. I hope that they can forgive me, but if not, I accept this. It's life, it happens. And at least I'm going to focus on the good stuff. I'm going to focus on the fact that now I'm grateful for the fact that I've been through those things and I have learned from those problems, from those mistakes. Nothing is a mistake if you can learn something out of it. Does it make sense? If forgive yourself, you didn't know better. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, if. Red, the Freeman. I don't know what is the Freeman. Caroline, so hard to accept. Does it come with time? Maybe. Yes, so everything is a process of challenging your habit. And so the reason why it's hard is because all of your life, for how many years you've been alive, you've been thinking that thought, believing that belief. And so you need to dismantle that, and it takes some time. So it will take time. But know that eventually, like everything else, we can learn new skills. We can develop some new ideas. We can change our belief as well. Right? Spend some time thinking about it in meditation, in reflection. Do some self-introspection work. Close your eyes and think, accept the past is the past. I can't go back, and I'm happy with that, because instead of thinking about, I'm bad, tell yourself, I have grown, I have learned, I have changed. I am a better person now. Thank you for that experience. Focus on gratitude. Focus on growth. Focus on moving forward. This is what it's meant to be doing. This is how it serves us. The moment we understand this, your whole life is going to change. Okay? Red, laughing face emoji. I agree. I feel like I've definitely had it. Okay, good. But like couldn't have done it alone. I had to be this way. Okay. Okay, guys, I think it's time for me to go. I've been here for a couple of hours. Has anyone got a last question they want to ask me before I say goodbye? I'm going to say goodbye slowly in the meantime. I want you guys to remember I'm a therapist, coach, and O4, and I do my best to come on YouTube and TikTok to do some live, to offer some free advice to anyone who wants it. And I've been doing it for a while in TikTok. So I go live on TikTok twice a week, per week, at least, whenever I can. And I come on YouTube every Saturday. So the difference with YouTube and TikTok is that TikTok, I never know really when it's going to happen, whereas YouTube, it's guaranteed. And also the difference with YouTube is that the videos stay here. So if you want to share some things, but you don't want to linger on social media, maybe come and see me on TikTok. If you don't mind, YouTube, right? At this point in time, I've decided to come on Saturdays afternoon from 5 o'clock p.m. UK time. If you need any more details about me as a therapist and coach, you can find on my videos all my handles and my website link as well. I am on all platforms, but I spend most of my time on TikTok and YouTube. As I always say at this point in time, I have planned to create some more new long-form content on YouTube, but it's just a matter of time. And I've been very busy from the start of the year with my practice, with my clients. And so this is why it hasn't happened yet, but it will. In the meantime, I do put out 3 shorts every day, both on TikTok and YouTube. And they're not the same. There's a delay of 3 months. So the newest ones are on TikTok, and YouTube are 3 months behind. So that's it. If you have any questions, ask me in the comment section, or come back and ask me again. If you have any friends you believe could benefit from my help, get them involved. Do follow me on TikTok and YouTube if you want. I would be greatly appreciative of this. And that's it. Let me see the last comment. Red eye emoji. Josiah, thank you for blessing us this much. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Are you okay? Hey. I am okay. Thank you. Reds, just Caroline, thank you as always. Thank you, Caroline. Reds, ignore me. It's okay. Caroline, hope you have a good evening. I will for sure. And you too. And all of you guys. Reds, thank you, Didi. Cool messages. Thank you, guys. I love you all. Take care of you. Look after yourself. Be kind to yourself. And I'm going to say goodbye for now. Okay? If I had to ask, sometimes we receive too much and forget to ask. Oh, no, I'm good. Thank you. Likewise. Good evening. I'm all good. Love you guys. Take care.